question to Fiona, because I know you've dealt with in excess, I would think now, 50 sports in the UK, and you might have quite a good sense for how they think, and maybe you can trace it backwards to try and answer that first part of that question.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. One thing I'd say is I think it's overly simplistic for us to think that if women were in charge, it would all be better. I know that we might believe that as a universal truth, but in the world of sport, I've dealt with lots of women in NGBs who are very conditioned or choosing to centre the needs of a particular minority that they think needs special care and attention, which is trans identifying people. The issue there, and our success, is in helping them reframe the question to remember that there's another group of people who also need particular consideration, and that there's a category of sport created for those people. And so whatever empathy we all may have for one subgroup of society, and we do, and we need to find solutions for them to be included in sport and in society, the issue we want to talk about is the female people and how we get included. And so by reframing the question, we have found quite a useful way of redirecting the empathy, but also not having to make the battleground the question of trans issues. And it echoes what Helen Joyce said the other day. So, and in terms of the origins, I mean, other people will know, it goes all the way back to court cases and Kristen Worley and all those people. And the IOC really preempted what they thought was coming, which was a human rights fight over the right of recognition of a transsexual to be recognized as a woman. But I think we've moved a long, long way from that now, because, as I say, if you reframe the conversation, then you're dealing with the human rights of different groups rather than a conversation which, and this is where I think men have been successful, they have got all of us talking about the needs of a particular subset of male people. And that's what we don't do anymore. We're talking about other groups as well.
When you say reframe the question, can I just ask you to pause on that and say, what tends to be the original question? What do you reframe it to? And maybe most important, to whom do you need to make that reframing?
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, actually, I'll mention there's an article on our website called Leveling Down, How Asking the Wrong Question Led to Bad Policy. So when we talk to governing bodies, generally I first ask them where they're up to on the issue of female inclusion and transgender inclusion. So straight away we've identified there are two different issues here. And we're not here to battle against transgender inclusion, we're here to talk about female inclusion. So that's the first thing. By asking them where they are, then you find out what they already believe and what common ground you have. So for example, as Ross said the other day, some people, the science is settled, other people, it's not, or they won't believe it. So then you don't waste your energy arguing over stuff that's irrelevant. So the question then becomes, how do we make sure that sport is inclusive of all? That's the right question. The wrong question is, who gets to compete in the female category, and can we let some male people in there? And that implicitly is the question that was asked and answered without consulting us. So I will mention one other article on our website, which is exactly that. It's what's it called? It's called, Are There Good Reasons to Allow Some Males into Women's Sport? Because in our conversations with all these governing bodies, we've heard so many justifications for why they've got the policies they've got. And you can imagine lots of the reasons. You'll all have heard them yourselves. So it's useful to be able to respond to those. But the right questions that they should be asking themselves are, who is eligible for the female category? And once that's addressed, which to be honest is not a difficult question, how do we make sure that this sport, whichever sport it is inclusive of all and there's a place for everyone? Two different questions.